I don't know how many months this is in the making, Rochelle, but it is
Yeah.
finally happening. I think you remember what we decided to call the podcast?
Radical. What was it? Radical moments. No.
Radical Seasons.
Radical.
We've called it Radical Seasons because God knows we are going through radical seasons.
This season is mine.
Why do you think that's like a good name, Rochelle, for like what we are trying to do
Kind
here?
of, we have been radicals, right? From the time I can remember.
I think maybe you definitely more than me, but yeah.
Oh, yes. Actually, a friend of mine, she's close to me now, right? She was
Okay.
from our batch.
Uh.
She said, Rochelle, those days I avoided any confrontation with you because I remember you as a loud, very, chatty person. And she wasn't like that. She was very timid, introvert, whatever.
Mm.
Said, I avoided you like the plague. So, like, how come? Did I come and chat with you? Because I was used to chatting with everybody. She said you would have, but I was so overwhelmed, around you. But now she's a good friend. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Like that's how we know each other back from school. Like I joined school for my A levels, and that's when I met Rochelle. And I think as a joke, people were calling you Rosa or something, no?
Well, that was Ruhani, okay?
Okay. I was thinking, oh, okay, that's unusual.
Rosa, you know why?
Why?
You know why? Because I think in Shakespeare's, what was it? Rosalind.
Okay.
Rosalind.
Rosalind.
What do you
Yes.
call it? Rosalind. Okay. So I think I just said Rosalind or some good thing. And then
Okay.
from then onwards, yeah, I'm Rosa.
Okay. So, and then as usual, I think came down to introductions, and Rochelle, you can take away the how I introduce myself to you.
Yeah. So Maria was really, she looked like a real sweet girl, and we were the Forward Peters' eldest daughters, all of us. So there were, I think, about 12 of us in this clique, right? And she joined the arts class, and then you know how it is, no? You see this new person and you wanna befriend them. So she goes like, so we are like, okay, hi, blah blah blah. What's your name? And she says, hi, I'm Maria, but you can call me Maria. You can call me Mariah. And we were like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's too much information, but yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
So
then,
I've never been able to live that down.
And also she became her Royal Highness at one point.
Oh yeah. That's when I had this crush on Prince William. Anyway, so
Yes.
yeah, we've known each other for how long, Rosh, then?
Since 96.
96, no? So it's almost 20 years. So yeah, so I think I personally I'm not a person who likes to I would be the last
more
person
than 20 years. Maria,
Why?
almost 30 years.
Is
Almost
it
30
30?
years.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Okay, so
96.
kind of showing our age, no? Yeah,
Yeah.
96. Yeah, to 2026. So yes, I mean your immediate inkling was not to like start a podcast. It was like the last thing that you had on your mind as well. But like I think
because I'm not, as much as I'm a gregarious or friendly, maybe over friendly person, I'd rather be behind the scenes. So chatting, in front of the camera is a big no-no. I get stuck. I get like jittery and tongue-tied. But yeah, I guess.
I think same here because I think even Rochelle, you're a writer, right? So like I also prefer to write and like be behind the scenes. But I guess the thing is having me being a teacher, I think I've been like forced to push myself, like, to speak more. So anyway, so I think anyway, I was inspired to reach out to Rochelle and ask whether she'd like to just come on board and start this. So that's where this started, and yeah, let's see where it goes. So both of us are Shall I say?
No,
Okay,
you are
okay, okay. We are
45.
in our 40s.
No, we can say the age, right? It's
Okay, okay,
okay.
okay. So
Because
both of us are
I'm
45.
yeah, I'll be 46 soon on the
Okay.
21st
I
of
didn't want to
February.
say, I wanted to say we're both 45, but doesn't matter. Okay, so let's talk about like how these like definitions we have of success and joy and fulfillment, how they've changed like through the years, and let's play a small game to kind of see how it has changed, right? Let's talk about something that you were obsessed with in your 20s, Rosh, that I mean, that you finally let go of. Something that you thought that you really needed to have in your 20s, that you think that in your 40s you don't really need to have to be happy or joyful.
I think validation.
Hmm.
Validation. I've also
From
been like a people pleaser. So there were times, you get hurt, right? Because you try to please and then maybe you do X amount, but that person would do A, right? Like much less.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of, yeah, it hurts. Okay. So, and sometimes you might do things that it doesn't resonate with who you are inside of that, right? So then you're like, oh, okay. I think I should, like, I made a lot of errors because of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
The inability to say no.
Mm.
That was, I think, my main thing.
Yeah.
And then, oh my gosh, when I look back, I'm like, regrets because of that. Right? I have like, I don't have a lot of regrets in life. I have just maybe maximum 5, right? 5 major regrets.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm okay. I've lived like I'm so happy about certain decisions I made in life. And
But do you think that the regrets are connected with your need to please people?
yeah, no, mostly the pleasing and the inability to say no.
Right.
Like at that point, okay, but there were 3 main regrets,
Mm-hmm.
3 main regrets, that really shaped my kind of destiny. And I wish I was able to say no at that point, and not give in to that the people pleasing tendency of mine. So then, of course, yeah. So throughout the years, you get Facebook and all these things, which kind of, oh my gosh, it adds to that whole validation aspect, right?
True.
Where you're like, okay, how many likes, blah, blah, blah. If I do this, if I do this, do that. So for a long time, I think that was also there. And, because it feeds that need. Okay? But now, for the past, I think, especially after, 5.5 years ago, and so many things that have happened, there's no sadness really, but it's like you realize, I think it's with age as well. But I don't know if it's really age, because I see people who are in their 70s who are still like obsessed with this whole social media thing.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I think situations in life kind of like make you realize, no, you can say no, but that does not mean the people who truly love you are going to hate you.
Yeah.
And you can, want to distance yourself from certain things and explore certain things that is good for you. Yeah.
So I think for me, I think unfortunately, I'm still a bit of a people pleaser, so it's been difficult to let go. But I think for me, because I was always on the like the chubbier side, like the need, my obsession with like maintaining my weight uh, is something that I have let go because I used to get really depressed about it when it comes to like getting clothes and things like that. Because the thing is, from the time I was small or little, like people used to always comment on my weight and things like that. So like until I came to that point of going to the gym and exercising and getting to that place, I think I couldn't shake that obsession. So I actually had to like, I think it was a lot of puppy fat also. So anyway, the fact that I was able to reach that goal helped me to get rid of it. But still, I have that fear that, I'll pile it back on. But I think now I've realized, yeah, true. But now I've realized like the importance of being healthy, because like I think I came to a point where like I think about 3 years ago, I was like, it didn't make sense. I was just losing weight, and then I started worrying that there was something seriously wrong. And I think I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes and things like that. So I was taking some tablets, and then later on to see I was like misdiagnosed. So I didn't
Ah,
need to take those tablets and then lose that weight. So I've just come to the realization that health is more important than just being skinny. So yeah, I don't mind packing on the pounds as long as it's a healthy weight. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
One
that's
more thing I just want to add, like, okay, one was validation, the other was low self-esteem. So from my teen
talk about
years,
it.
I had this low self-esteem. I think it's probably our culture also, like people don't really tell you, they would point out your mistakes, right? Maybe, oh, your eyes are like this, your cheeks are like this, your nose is like this. So you're kind of, okay, thinking about that, and you don't see there's more to you than just this outward, like the faults, right? So I had like really low self-esteem. Actually, one of the things that really like I went through in the 20s was I was living like, what do you say, not living for the moment, but it's more like on survival mode.
What do you
I
mean by
appreciate
on
everyone.
survival? What do you mean on survival mode?
Survival mode means, because of the challenges and the pressures, like I think the ability to you get onto survival mode, like you live for the day, that moment, not even the day, I think, because you don't know what will happen next, kind of thing. But yeah, but I'm so glad that I've had so many good friends and family and a good support system throughout my life.
It's funny,
That has helped.
I think I just completely forgot about this, but I think it's important that I mention it. Like, I think my 20s were my toughest years, because I think once you get out of your A's, and like I think coming to terms with what your expectations of what life will be after your A levels, and then like how it really is, and like because like you're starting work, you're finding a partner, then they have expectations, work has expectations. I think you might remember, you actually helped me through this time. You came and visited me also, when like I was like going through this anxiety and all, because I had issues where like I was overthinking, and then I had this OCD situation where like I was like not able to break this worrying habit. So I think I went through a really tough patch during my 20s, and I was like worried that like I would lose people because I'm not doing things the proper way, or I would like lose, I'm not be able to get onto the correct path. I'm making the wrong decision when it came to my career. It's like, because don't you think like in your 20s, decisions are like making a decision is such a big deal?
Because 40 seems so old.
I know. I mean, like if
And I
somebody says
thought,
that 40, you're like, when you're 20, you're like, oh, that's old.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and like when they
So
have
I
those
was like,
like
no way.
people have those naughty 40 parties, you're like, oh, I feel sorry for that person. But now like we're there.
They're ancient.
I
They're
know.
ancient.
But like what did you like? Did you
Yeah.
have like some sort of idea what your life would be like?
Not at all. Not at
Mm,
all. I didn't think so far. I
mm,
didn't. Yeah.
mm,
For me, it was like one day at a time. Let me face it. I didn't think. I thought, okay, because of all the challenges that I was going through, I thought I'd be dead, actually. And
Yeah.
I was like, really, as much as I was living and alive, not that I was moping and, I used to meet up with my friends. I used to go where I was able to go. But yeah, I didn't think that far at all, at all. But of course, when I got married at 23, I can remember thinking when my daughter was born at 24, I remember my husband and I had a conversation. We said, oh my gosh, when we are 40, our daughter will be this age, that kind of thing, like when we are 40 something. Yeah, that was like a big thing. Like, oh, I can't even imagine her being that age or like us being that age. That seemed like, don't think so.
So I guess
Yeah.
I think I'm the same. Like I'm not a person like I've not like thought like it's difficult for me to like imagine too far into the future. But like I mean I guess like when I was in my 30s, like I obviously marriage was important and having children was important and having a nice home was important. So like I mean of those things I have got like one. So grateful for that. I mean in the sense like you think okay you can have your home the way you like it. You might I mean I thought I might have like 3 kids and like so sometimes things don't work out the way that we expect it to. So like I find like the radicalness of like this season is coming to terms with that. I mean with the fact that your expectations have not been fulfilled sometimes, and also like I think redefining what we like
Yeah,
life to
the
be.
main thing is redefining. Yeah,
Would you
you are
like to
right.
talk about how like
I can.
how you have redefined like what you'd like your life?
Okay, this is something very simple. So I am also a bit of an OCD person. I mean, I used to really organize things. I love because only child, yeah? I
I
love
didn't know
things
that,
to be
Rochelle.
organized. But I was. So
Oh.
then I realized like you can't be that way because I was living from pillar to post, from here to there to there to here, and like basically from my backpack, right? So then you can't be this thoroughly organized, thoroughly, wanting A to B like that. You have to adapt to A to C to D to B to like that, right? So that was that. And another thing is, so, when I got married, I thought, okay, let me have this nice place, nice house. And then my husband brings a dog. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I love dogs, but
Yes.
I was like, and then he decides to, cross her. And I'm like, I can't take this.
Oh,
Right? So it was a lot of like, I mean, of course, he had his things I had to get used to. So that was also like a bit tough for me because I was used to having my way, whatever said and done. And then when the kids came along, it was like, okay, just keeping a neat and tidy place all the time is not possible. So it was like, getting used to things that were not very comfortable as at the start. I'm a person who's resistant to change. Yeah. I would go kicking and screaming if things are changing. I realized even last year, right when I had to join AIA, I joined in 2023. So it was something very different for me. 2023 November. So there were things like my manager would like put me into, okay, this training, that training, this thing, that thing, and I'd be like, no, I can't. Right? So it's good. I realize I just hate change, but it's good. It's good.
but I think I completely relate. Like, I mean, I'm living with a person who's constantly like trying to push me to change, and I mean, like my husband is like someone who's a risk taker, and I'm a person who likes to live in my comfort zone and do things I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
But I think even you
Yeah.
see that sometimes, like because you were like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You could do this, and I'm like, ah. So like I'm also a person who like resists change. So that is something like I'm trying to change, but that takes time.
Of course, I haven't still given up my high heels. Even the
Yes.
stilettos, I would wear it. Even through all the pain,
Yes.
I'd wear it.
I'm
And
a
I
witness.
believe in no pain, no gain.
I'm going to share with you some opinions that I found, Rochelle, online, people talking about their 40s, and let's see what you think and like whether you agree or whether you have a different take on it, right? Okay, so one person says, I'm turning 40 within the next few months. I'm completely freaking out. 30 was scary enough. I've always felt youthful and young, but in the last 12 months, I'm really starting to feel my age. My eyes have loads of wrinkles around them when I smile. My body feels a little stiffer. My hair is starting to get a bit thinner. It's harder to lose weight. I'm sure we have a lot to say on this. What do you think? How are we dealing with these issues?
Yes.
I'm recovering from a day of hot flashes, Rochelle, yesterday. Ayo, from the time I got up in the
Oh
morning.
God.
I know, man. Hello, perimenopause. So tell us, Rochelle, what
Yeah.
is your experience?
Oh man.
Or do you want to talk
I
about it
think
or
you
not?
try to. No, no, we'll talk about it. We'll
Okay.
talk about it. You want to push it aside as much as possible, right? And you think, no, I'm going to be one of those, Sex and the City kind of, what's her name? Miranda.
Yeah.
Not Miranda, who was that? Samantha
Harry,
Jones, right?
Samantha.
Yeah. Samantha Jones. Yeah. So I'm like, that's how I envisioned my 40s and
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
And now I have, love handles and body stiffness.
Ayo, yeah.
Of course, I haven't still given up my high heels, even the
Yes.
stilettos, I would wear it, even through all the pain,
Yes.
and wear it.
I'm
And
a
I
witness.
believe in no pain, no gain. So I'm like, yeah. Hard to lose weight. Yeah. And I'm a person that it was very hard to get used to that, Maria.
Mm.
The, metabolism issue.
Mm.
Because I was a person, like, I used to be able to eat like, I'm sorry to say, a hog, right? I could eat, my cousin and I, when we used to go to these hotels, right? My cousin brother and I, who's 3 years younger to me, we used to have competitions, okay? Because I used to be able to eat and not put on weight.
Lucky.
Up until after Mavinka was born. So, but thankfully, even when I used to get pregnant, I used to lose. And like I used to, somehow the 30s, even 20s, 30s, I was okay. There was a time I had put on because like when Mavinka, my elder one, was born, that's because, you're surrounded by this army of grandmothers and, mother-in-laws and aunties and everybody. And everybody's like, before the child is first child, na? Before the child is fed, they're like, eat a plate full of rice. And so I was fed a plate full of rice with all the jackfruit and everything, and given a good hot glass of milk. Why?
Wow.
All for the child.
Yes.
So then I put on so much of weight. I was like, what the hell? I've never been so. So for the second one, I was like, nothing doing.
Yeah.
I'm just having, all my normal meals and whatever. So yeah, so for me, losing weight even after the kids was easy, really easy. And maintaining that weight was easy. I used to exercise, but like I don't know, I was able to eat. That I'm a real foodie, okay? So I was able to eat. So that's what. And now come 44, even 40 was okay. 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, especially 45, it's like I have to eat just 2 meals a day.
I know.
I can't binge. I can't. And I have to cut down on, sweets. Dessert used to be my favorite. So now it's like, nah.
I know.
So that was a big challenge for me. Yeah.
And I
very,
find
very big challenge.
my weight fluctuates quite a bit. So yeah, I think this is something we've never I mean, we never hear people talking about perimenopause. We've heard of menopause, but I think
No.
yeah, and when
Not until Marie said it.
Yes. And then only okay, so because I think a couple of about a year ago, after I had got COVID, I was having these palpitations, and then I was wondering whether something was wrong, and then I even went and got like a echo scan done. And then apparently that happens to be something related to perimenopause, palpitations and things like that. So not a lot of people talk about it. So I think we are educating each other, no, whenever we meet up with the group about what the newest symptoms
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
conversations have changed, right? Among our close friends,
yes,
from our 20s to 40s, it's like, especially the recent, we met up this
but
particular
we have
circle,
this core
and the
group of
conversations,
core group of girls who are like from the same like class.
the
So how many are
conversation was ranging from sciatica to osteoarthritis to
mammograms?
yes, pap smears.
Then sharing the numbers of the doctors and then sharing yoga positions. I can't remember what we used to talk about those days though. What would we talk about?
So yeah, it was like, whoa, I've become like my mother or what?
Yeah, I know, I know. Totally agree. I mean, like, and especially when it comes to like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. I kind of like started doing face yoga a couple of years ago, but I've stopped it because like now I'm just seeing these lines. So for me, like that's like difficult to deal with. So I think
Yeah.
yeah, because like I told you recently I went like when I was like flying back um I think it was about 2 months ago. I was sitting next to this lady, a Pakistani lady. She was like a young girl, and there was like a 20-year-old next to me, and she was like, "Oh, is that your daughter?" And I was like horrified because like I was like, "Do I look that old to be the mother of a 20-year-old?" So I mean, maybe I do, but I didn't see myself like that. So like I mean, and it's not like I'm going to do like Botox and things like that because I did go to like a skin doctor like about 5 years ago, and she said, "Oh, you look good for your age. If you want, we can do a little Botox." Like, we are going to do Botox anyway. So, coming to terms and accepting the way our body has changed is like definitely not pleasant.
And I think I really look at the people who have grown old gracefully, right? I look at my grandmother. She's 95 years old. She has obviously grown old. She's really old,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a sense of elegance and grace, and that's how I've come to terms with that now. Let me grow old grace. There was a time when I really wanted to lose weight, right? I thought, okay, I want to go back to that, 30s kind of weight, 50 kilos, where 55 was overweight for me, right? And now I'm like, I range between 60 and 65. Okay. Now it doesn't go below that. Okay. Because then I realized, no, for my age, I need to be in that range. Because if not, like everything looks very, what do you say? What's that
Haggard.
word? Yeah, haggard.
Mm.
So yeah. So now I've accepted. Yeah, this is my age, and yeah, I'm this age. So let me accept it and grow old gracefully.
And that's also like another thing. I think it's perspective because like we have friends who have not reached our age, no, Rosh. So like, we are always like blessed to with all these complications to be still alive. So like, like I mean that's how I think the perspective that like, I mean, I think I need to choose to have like, I get to grow
Yeah.
old. So that's like yeah, we have to count it as a blessing.
I believe like till our dying day, we need to have that sense of awe and sense of fascination. And that, ever ready for adventure. It doesn't have to be like Indiana Jones type of adventures, but to explore something new.
Another opinion that I just found. Okay, so this person says you don't need to be settled by 40, meaning it's okay to still be figuring things out, changing careers, or exploring new relationships without feeling like you're behind schedule. What do you think, Rosh?
That's true. I believe in that. I completely believe in that. Yeah. Because right now, I mean, I've got into an industry where I'm not been in before. Something really new. Insurance, right? It's radical. It's a radical season for me. Right. And I'm exploring areas which I'm not being comfortable with. Like, you know, and not, I'm actually pushing myself into places. Like, yeah, handling certain things even when it comes to my writing. It's very interesting. And I believe like till our dying day, we need to have that sense of awe and sense of fascination. And that, you know, ever ready for adventure. It doesn't have to be like Indiana Jones type of adventures, but to explore something new, right? Now, my grandmother, she's 95, I told you. So, you know, she never, I can remember when I used to have these conversations with her, she used to say, I just hope and pray that before I'm bedridden, I'm just like, you know, God takes me away kind of thing, right? But now she is bedridden.
Funny.
You know, yeah, bedridden in the sense she can be carried and kept in the thing, but she can't do things on her own, right? She has to be carried and whatever. But her mind is sharp, right? So sharp, she remembers things, poems, and all these things from even small days, right? It is excellent. And she also, it took a long time for her to come to terms with all of this. And she was like, I don't know why God is keeping this, and blah, blah, blah. But I think she came to realization, no, I still have purpose in my life. You know, God has a purpose where I can pray for him, that kind of thing. So that's how it is. Like I've realized, you know, you can be in any situation in life, right? Any age or whatever. But if you condition your mind to think, okay, there is still purpose in my life. Even if I'm in this situation, there is a purpose. Okay, I'm like people will look at me and think, oh, she's ancient, she's old, you know, but what can she do? You know, how can she get out of certain situations? What new thing can she do? Can she do a new thing? But the main thing is, you know, having that focus. So there is a purpose, and let me learn something new all the time, and not lose my sense of awe and
I
adventure.
definitely agree, because I think, like, you know, this tendency to become cynical is, it's a very real danger, and that's what like kills the joy in our life. Because obviously by the time we come to this age, we've gone through so many experiences that have, like, you know, flowed us, no, like, you know, you thought like would be a certain way, and then there are like things don't come our way, they are taken away from us, and it's easy to become cynical, and then you think, okay, life is over. But
Yeah,
like,
of course.
so I think, as you said, this need to find the things that, you know, with, oh wow, like, you know, I still get to do this. That sense of awe is important. That's what I think, like,
Yeah.
that childlike wonder is
Yes.
what keeps it fresh, I think, and
Yeah.
keeps us young, right? Also,
Right.
I find it really frustrating sometimes with people who refuse to continue to learn new things. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm resistant to change, but like I'm always eager, like, you know, to learn new things that are happening out there and things like that. I think that's a very important thing, right? Like you said, like, you
Yes.
know, continuously like looking to learn new things. So
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
think is something we should be doing as well.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it keeps us going, you know. And I've seen it in my family. My, you know, all my aunts and whatever, and even like everybody I know, I'm surrounded with people who are, I mean, my elder daughter always says, Mama, they look so young, they don't look their age. That's because they are like very childlike in the sense they're willing to learn, to accept, to adapt, to change, to it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Because
And
like,
even friends, you know, look at us, Maria. Look at our friendships, right? We are so blessed with those. We are still, you know, when we meet, we scream and shout and hug, and you know, it's nice. Yeah, yeah. So
so
it's
yeah,
good
keeping
too.
the
I think the main
spirit.
thing is, yeah, and surround yourself. You know, there are people in life that will really suck you dry. You know, when you hang around with them, they're so negative, right? So it's important that you surround yourself with those who are like kind of uplifting.
Definitely. Yeah.
Even these seasons in life, right? You're going through a season, I'm going through a season, it's radical. But how do we navigate with joy in our hearts and not lose our joy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to admit, like in my 30s, like, I left, I mean, a lot of the dreams that I had, and I think you also were talking about this need for validation and about a lot of things that you did were based on, like, what you thought other people would want you to do and things like that. And I feel like in our 40s, me personally, like, I'm getting to now see what I really want to do. Like, kind of like, okay, is this something that I really wanted to do? Like the fact that I could not have kids, right? So obviously I was being constantly reminded, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this treatment, that. Now that like I've like told them, look, my body's kind of given up on me. So they've also like, okay, right, okay, so we can't annoy her sort of thing. Now I can kind of reclaim my body and like, okay, now do what I would like to do. So I think like our 40s is the time for you to like reclaim also these, demands that kind of family kind of put on you sometimes. Maybe with you, I guess the kids have grown up to a certain extent. So like you have maybe a little more time to do things. I don't know, Rochelle. I'm just like assuming. But like for me, I find that I have a little more um, control over like, how I want my life to go a little bit with that.
Yeah, so all three of them, for me, it's a radical season because all three of them started like, higher studies, and it was like from school to uh, higher studies to, some of them working and then stopping their work, then lot of changes. Yeah, it's not been easy. It's very tough. It's interesting because it's also interesting about being this mother, because you're like, okay, you get used to one season and then comes the next, and you're like, whoa, okay, how do I navigate? Kind of like from the basic things. How do I put food on the table? How do I pay their bills? How do I pay the bills? How do I pay their fees? How do I do this? How do I do that? Blah 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 blah. And it's something like I've never been through. And yeah, so it's like it's constantly for me, it's like hanging on to my faith. That has really helped. And what I've understood about this is not just me. I don't, what I've come to terms with, okay, it took a long time to accept this change. Yeah. Because it was this thing I didn't like. I didn't want to go through this at all. I hated it. But like, how do I accept it? How do I, see the good in it, the lessons in it? What do I learn? How can I reach out to people who are going through similar things or far worse things in this situation without just feeling sorry for myself? It's interesting. That's why I said to Maria, like, okay, even these seasons in life, right? You're going through a season, I'm going through a season, it's radical. But how do we navigate with joy in our hearts and not lose our joy?
Yeah.
And not lose ourselves in that. So
Yeah.
easy. That's actually something that really struck with me as a youngster, as a teenager. I saw this auntie. She was there was this Akki I knew who was living close to my auntie's place, and it was her and two siblings, right? So her mom, like she looked really haggard, really old, and she used to walk very slowly and no smile on the face, very morose. So I mean, at that time I think I would have thought she was about like what 60, a good 60. I didn't even think of it, but I was like, whoa, and she was like mean and very bitter kind of. So us, no, we used to be like, whoa. But then when I got to know, like I met her daughter became a friend. She was much older to us. And she said, like, she used to hang around with us because we used to like meet up and all at my aunt's. And then she said, my mother was not like this. But after my father died, she became, because of the pressures of life, she became like this. So then I thought to myself at that age, oh my, I never want to be like this. Right? So now I've come to that. I've come to a similar situation.
Mm,
And then how do I portray myself?
yeah.
How do I, even if I'm going through the most toughest time, I think I would say this is the most toughest time in my life. This past year,
Mm,
so many months, even to date, is, I would say, the most toughest time, right? Because it's not just me now, when I was going through tough time as I was growing up, it was just me.
Yeah.
So even if I die or not, it was just me I had to worry about.
Yeah.
Right. It's easy not to, have like, not care.
yes.
Okay. Because it's just you. Okay. But when you have three children
Mm,
who are kind of looking up to you, I want to have that attitude of gratitude that
Yep.
will give me altitude,
mm,
but also never to lose, like, never to stop understanding people, going through these situations.
mm,
Never to stop being kind. Never to never to judge them. I was never judge. Because when I'm facing this, I realize how people judge.
mm.
Yeah.
Was there
So-
anyone, Rochelle, the temptation is always there, and like sometimes you, so I don't know, you're so blinded by the problem. Sometimes, you just get into that track of negative thinking and complaining and things like that. Was there someone who like if you were in that situation, like if you were like that, like was there someone who shook you out of it, or
No, I was never I never complain.
mm,
But I always, even through all the trials, I had like with few close people, I would unburden myself to, and they
mm,
would always like pray with
mm,
me and all that.
mm,
So
mm.
I'm so grateful,
Yeah.
Maria. So grateful.
I think both of us, like, I mean, our faith has been the foundation of being able to rise out of these circumstances, no, Rochelle?
Yeah, definitely.
And like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so I guess even if you, I don't know, even if it's not going to a church or anything, but like, even having God-filled people who like minister to you is so important, right? So surrounding yourself with those
Yeah,
kind of people is very important.
yeah.
And also sometimes
Yeah.
being out in nature also definitely is like a,
Oh, yes. Yes.
and you have
Oh,
a
another
lovely
thing is
garden.
I spend time with my grandmother on Sabbath. That's on Saturday. I spend time with her, so that's a good place because she gives me a lot of hope. She's full of joy, bubbling with joy, and listening to all these old stories and spending time in nature. I love going to the beach in Nigambo,
Mm-hmm.
watching the sunset.
Oh,
I
yes,
love it.
definitely.
Yeah, even from our place, the sunset is beautiful. So I love it. Yeah.
So on that note, Rochelle, thank you for taking the time and chatting with me about all of these things that we've learned and we've been through. So we will end there today, and hopefully, like next time, we can draw in our experiences from what we're going to do tomorrow.
Oh,
We are
yes.
going to the Gaul Literary Festival to check out some nice talks and go for art exhibition, or I think a photography exhibition. So that will be fun.
Yes. Actually, it's really interesting, right? Because we have friends who are photographers like Sabina and a few others like Chitralaya. I feel like Indika's cousin's husband. So they are famous photographers and wildlife photographers. But recently, I met a person who was introduced to me by another old friend of mine, work colleague. And he turned out to be a person who names the leopards in Vilpattu and Yala.
Oh wow!
They have different names, right? So they know according to the spots. They name the leopards.
Wow!
I was transferred the paper and stuff. He said, he sent me this and he said, "Come on over." So yep, here we go.
Yay! I'll be picking you up at 6:15. It's going to be an experience. Things to look forward to.
is mine.